Bounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-ounce sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120ZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sportsbook. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see up on top of the screen today, I have my number up and ready for you guys. So if you have any issues with my sports debate topics today, please call live into the show, 347-831-1945. Once again, 347-831-1945. Call live into the show if you have any problems with my takes. Let's start with this. Let's start with the Dodgers and the Cardinals. I went to bed after the 8th inning was over. I didn't want to stay up potentially for extra innings and all that stuff. I woke up this morning, I saw the score. I saw the Dodgers 3-1. And obviously they scored 2 runs, had to be on a homer because you can't whatever else. Okay. So Chris Taylor hits a 2-run homer, wins the game for the Dodgers, hits it off Alex Reyes. Let's question the management by Mike Schlitt of the St. Louis Cardinals. There's 2 outs, and at least he got 2 guys out. Cody Bellinger got on base. So he pulls the lefty pitcher for a right-handed pitcher to face a righty. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this Alex Reyes pitcher throws a curveball right down the middle of the plate, serves one up to Chris Taylor, and they win the game. I mean, you could have stuck with the lefty. Yeah, it wasn't ideal. Sometimes this righty-righty stuff usually doesn't work out, and it burned for the Cardinals. Dodgers were the more superior team. We thought that the Cardinals' magic was going to work, and it didn't happen. Want to know what I also happen to find very fascinating about this whole Cardinals-Dodgers game from last night? Do you want to know what I find fascinating? When I logged on to Twitter this morning, here's the tweet that I saw from the Dodgers-Cardinals game last night heading into the 9th inning. Do you all know who Bob Nightingale is? The USA Today reporter, also known as Bob Jinxagale, the guy who jinxes everything. Here's the tweet that he sent out before the 9th inning. We are 3 outs away from our first extra innings game of the season without a ghost runner. You knew the Dodgers were probably going to win that game based on that tweet alone. And I'm laughing to my dad this morning. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. That Bob Nightingale, I mean, you know the phrase from SpongeBob? How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? How many times do we have to teach you this lesson that he tweets things prematurely and then the complete opposite happens? And you also want to know something? If he tweeted, the sun will rise tomorrow, we are all in major trouble. I just want you to know that. I just want you to know that. That is how, I mean, I just find it fascinating. Whenever he tweets, the opposite just happens. Oink a vault on that one. Credit to the Dodgers for beating the Cardinals. Now they get to face the San Francisco Giants. Let's get to the AL wild card. So the Boston Red Sox beat the New York Yankees 6-2. Why know what I happen to find so funny and so fascinating? You paid $324 million to Gerrit Cole, who can only pitch 2+ innings in a game on the road against your arch nemesis. But Jacob deGrom and the New York Mets would never have an outing like that of 2+ innings on the road against an arch nemesis in a playoff game. Now, I know the Mets haven't made the playoffs in, 5-6 years? But for a franchise like the New York Yankees to pay that kind of money for a starting pitcher and to completely blow up in your face like a terrible lab experiment comes back to bite you in the dust, and you can't win. Want to know something? And I saw this on Twitter. This is also true. The Red Sox from 2018 to 2021, they had Mookie Betts in 2018, and they didn't have him this year. But the Yankees had the same core from 2018 to 2021, and they still can't beat the Boston Red Sox. Don't you dang think that it's time for a shakeup? Now I know my brother Jacob and all other Yankees fans have been having problems with Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone. Look, I agree. I agree with Brian Cashman more than I agree with Aaron Boone. The thing about Aaron Boone is, who will you find better as a manager than with Aaron Boone? That's my first question. Now here's my second question. Here's my problem with Brian Cashman. Number one, he gets rid of prospects for basically bust pitchers. He has no idea how to develop pitching talent. And I know a Mets fan told me it's hard to develop pitchers in that Little League ballpark. But I wouldn't exactly call it a Little League ballpark. Yeah, you got the right field porch. But you still have to develop them, and they haven't been able to develop those pitchers. I know they win games. Still got Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge here up Aaron Sold those New York Yankees teams, but I'm just saying. How? I mean, there's got to be a breakup somewhere. You can't keep this thing. I know they're probably not bringing back Gary Sanchez next year anyways. And as for the Red Sox, good luck beating the Tampa Bay Rays. Yankees probably saved themselves from embarrassment anyways, because they always have problems with the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm just going to say this, though, about the Red Sox. They don't give up, and managing makes a difference, and Alex Cora is a better manager than Aaron Boone. That I will say. And I actually applaud Alex Cora the other night for yanking Nathan Eovaldi at the right time. But everyone's like, this is the wrong move. No, it wasn't. He sensed the momentum quickly shifting to the Yankees, and he wanted to put out the fire before it even got bigger. Aaron Boone let that fire go too long, and that's what cost the Yankees with Gerrit Cole. Where was a guy like Luis Gil warming up in the bullpen? Where was he? I'm just saying, Yankees are going to be in trouble moving forward. The Red Sox are going to be back being good. Tampa Bay Rays, wait till they have to finally spend money. Toronto Blue Jays are on the come up. And who knows, maybe the Baltimore Orioles even turn the corner sooner rather than later. Not saying the Yankees should last next year, but they got to figure it out over there. All right, let me move on to my next segment here. Okay, let's now get into my NLDS preview. Let's go with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. Los Angeles won 106 games. San Francisco won 107. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants have never met before in the MLB postseason. Cody Bellinger, one of the key players for the Dodgers. Max Muncy's probably going to be out. For the Dodgers, he's another key player there. But they got so many good players. To Trey Turner and Corey Seager, the list goes on and on. Also Chris Taylor. And here, for San Francisco, Chris Bryant, Brandon Crawford, and a bunch of pieces that really mesh together. So my pick for this series is, I kind of got a feeling I'm going to take the San Francisco Giants in 5 games over the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I'm taking San Francisco over Los Angeles. All right, the Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers. First of all, this is going to be a very lopsided series. Milwaukee is so much better than Atlanta, it's not even close. Freddie Freeman's Atlanta's best player. Milwaukee's best player is Christian Yelich. I think the starting pitching matches will be very interesting, but I think Milwaukee's just that much better. I'm taking the Milwaukee Brewers over the Atlanta Braves in a clean sweep in 3 games. Now let's check on these things to the side of the ALDS. Number 4, the Boston Red Sox versus number 1, Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay, analytically driven baseball team, one of the best in the league. Now, they're probably the favorites to win the American League because, hey, they're well managed by Kevin Cash. They don't make excuses for each other, and they just run things like it's supposed to be. I think this could be much more exciting than people think, and I actually do. But at the end of the day, the Tampa Bay Rays will prevail over the Boston Red Sox in 5 games. Now, how about the number 3 seed Chicago White Sox versus the number 2 seed the Houston Astros? I think this is both of these teams, so it's an even matchup. I think Chicago has better pitching, and I think Houston has the better offense. So we'll see how the balance scales shape out to be here. Tim Anderson, Chicago's probably best player, and Carlos Correa will be a free agent at the end of the year for Houston, the shortstop. This is probably his last ride with the Houston Astros. Okay, so what else here? Eloy Jimenez, Yasmani Grandal, 2 other key players for the Chicago White Sox, and give me Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve, another 2 key players in the Houston Astros lineup. Now, this is going to be a typical old-school baseball matchup with these 2 managers. Hall of Fame manager Tony La Russa and Dusty Baker. So, what do I think is going to happen? And the White Sox bullpen is better than the Astros. I'm taking the pick, the Chicago White Sox, in 5 games over the Houston Astros. So that's what I'm taking here. Get up to a $1,000 bonus with your first deposit at mybookie.ag. Promo 12-ounce sports, 12-ounce sports, quench your sports thirst. We are live on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I am live on YouTube, Twitter, and also only on 12-ounce sports TV and Zingo TV channel 761. Live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And that is also on Mondays, noon Pacific time. As I do on every show, thank you, Cody Jensen, Jamie Beck, Lou Gamlin, Philly Pete, Michael Crazy Carvalho. And once again, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we will be doing another episode of 12-Ounce Sports War, baby. I saw what Michael Carvalho said the other day. He is calling for an annual 12-Ounce Sports War blowout tomorrow. I am going to make sure that it is a freezing cold take. And Beck, with the score, you absolutely know what to do. You absolutely know what to do. I'm just saying. And also, Mike, You had two great guests on the AM Drive this morning with your friend over there, and also Steffi Smalls, big New York Giants fan, and she's already talking about New York Giants Super Bowl. Oh my goodness. Let's not get carried away with ourselves about the Giants over here. As much as I want them to beat the Dallas Cowboys this weekend, I don't see it happening. And also a big shout out to Mitch Bernstein and his baseball shows. I'm sure he's already loving the MLB postseason. And also, to support my articles or my show, go to 12OunceSportsNetwork.com/sportinggoods. All right, let's now get into NBA bowl predictions for the upcoming 2021-2022 regular season. So here we are once again. Another off season goes by. And with the NBA regular season being less than 2 weeks away, it is time for the NBA bowl predictions for the upcoming 2021-2022 regular season here as well. We will see what happens. I think it could be potentially another fun season. Well, we will see where as well. All right. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. Let's start with the Brooklyn Nets. They will have the worst ranked defense in the NBA. Weren't good last year. Kyrie Irving isn't vaccinated. That's a whole distraction with Kevin Durant, James Harden, Steve Nash, and the rest of the organization. Now, this is Michael Corvallis' favorite bowl prediction I'm about to say right here. Giannis Antetokounmpo will run away with the 2021-2022 NBA regular season MVP award. That's right. He is going to run away with it. And Michael Corvallis, if you're listening to the show right now, I triple dog dare you to bring this up with me. Remember, you can call live on my show to argue, 347-831-1945. Again, Michael, just in case you forgot what my number was, you can call 347-831-1945 just to let you know if you have any problems and if you want to bring it up. All right. Philadelphia 76ers. They will have a bottom 5 offense in the NBA and won't finish as a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference with all the Ben Simmons distractions going on. Let's go with the Miami Heat. Miami will finish with a top 3 record in the Eastern Conference. The 305, yeah, Kyle Lowry. Now, Michael Corvallis thinks Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and PJ Tucker are actually going to help the Miami Heat this year. You know what I said to him the other day on Twitter? I said to him, even though I made this bold prediction, that those 3 guys are a bunch of scrubs on Miami. That in the 305 itself, I'm just saying, they are a bunch of scrubs. I'm probably just joking and probably messing with them and all that other fun stuff. But no, in all seriousness, they'll probably be a very good team this year. Because they're obviously, every year they're well coached by Eric Spoelstra unless the injury bug bites them. New York Knicks. They are a one-year wonder. And New York misses the NBA playoffs entirely, including that play-in tournament that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has adopted just the past couple of years, including the NBA bubble, coronavirus, all that other interesting stuff. I know they have Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker, and they play so hard defensively. Well, you know what I'm going to say on this show at some point this year? They are who we thought they were. Not very good. That's all I have to say about the matter. All right, next up, let's go to the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young will finish in top 3 in the NBA MVP voting. Trae Young, the RP Soul of the Atlanta Hawks. And I'm just going to say this about him. He had an outgoing party last year in the NBA playoffs. He has arrived. He is finally here. And ladies and gentlemen, the Atlanta Hawks will be a very good team for a very long time to come because of Trae Young. All right. Now let's get into the Toronto Raptors. Because they are going through a rebuild, they will finish with one of the worst records in the NBA this season. So that's what I have for the Toronto Raptors. I know it's very nice now that they can play back at home in Toronto at the Scotiabank Center in Toronto, Ontario, but this is a rebuild. I understand what President of Basketball Operations Masai Ujiri is saying. And also, head coach Nick Nurse has to try and develop some players. They drafted Scotty Barnes. They have Fred VanVleet, Malachi Flynn, Pascal Siakam. So they got some young, promising players, but it's going to take some time again. The Boston Celtics. Boston will be a middle-of-the-pack team once again. Tell me what they did really well in the offseason. I know they got rid of Danny Ainge and they put Brad Stevens in the front office and UK Dummies the head coach. But personnel-wise, the roster outside of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown is not all that great. It's not. That roster is not good at all. Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball carries them to a top 6 spot in the Eastern Conference. Cleveland Cavaliers. The rebuild continues to stall as they either fire general manager Colby Altman or trade some of the young players for a bona fide superstar. So I saw some Cleveland Cavaliers fans tweeting on Twitter last night about rookie Evan Mobley being a beast. I saw in the preseason game, 8 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks in a preseason game against the Atlanta Hawks that they won in. So I don't know, as a Cleveland Cavaliers fan myself, what to expect this year. I don't know if. See, I think they want to win games, but the thing is, they don't have a bench. I mean, their starting 5 is nice with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro and Colin Sexton. Darius Garland's a nice starting 5. But outside of Kevin Love, Lauri Markkanen, and Ricky Rubio, I don't think it's a strong bench at all. I mean, Love is on the back 9 of his career with all the injuries. Spoken out about his mental health problems. All the panic attacks and all that other stuff he had in the past. And Ricky Rubio and Lauri Markkanen. And I'm just going to say, speaking of mental health, Kevin Love has been an advocate of it with the panic attacks that he's had in the past and all those stories that he's told. Now, let's get into the next thing. Moving on from Colby Altman and Cleveland Cavaliers, let's go to the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine carries them to the postseason. Detroit Pistons, they will have the worst record in the NBA. Indiana Pacers, this is an interesting one. Karis LeVert will lead the league in scoring. Washington Wizards, Bradley Beal finally gets traded at the trade deadline. They blow it all up. Orlando Magic, Jalen Suggs wins the NBA Rookie of the Year award. Had a chance to actually draft him, but I actually was helping out my brother Jacob with something yesterday, so I didn't get the chance to draft him out of my auto pick, but oh well. Now let's shift over gears to the Western Conference. Michael Corvallis, you're going to love this one right here for the Los Angeles Lakers. They will not finish a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. That's right, I said it. The Los Angeles Lakers will not finish a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. Now I know, but they have LeBron James, they have Anthony Davis, and they have Russell Westbrook. No. Where's the shooting coming from? Where's the chemistry? Where's the continuity coming from? Also, can you also trust any of the health of these players? Now let's get to the Los Angeles Clippers. They will find themselves in the NBA play-in round and not finish as a top 6 seed in the Western Conference. Because remember, Kawhi Leonard has that knee injury outside of Paul George, and I know they beat the Utah Jazz without Leonard, actually pushed the Phoenix Suns to 6 games without him, but let's be real about this. I know they like Terrence Mann, and I know Reggie Jackson played well, but what's going to happen when they low-manage these guys? They also have Nicholas Batum, and I don't think they have DeMarcus Cousins anymore. Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker has the highest three-point percentage. Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson doesn't come back as soon as expected, and they miss the playoffs entirely. Sacramento Kings. De'Aaron Fox becomes an all-star. Denver Nuggets. They will finish with the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. That's the core of the Denver Nuggets. And moving on from the Denver Nuggets, let's go to Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell will be the team's leading scorer. Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard will hold out at some point this season. How about the Minnesota Timberwolves? Karl Anthony Towns requests a trade at some point because they'll be so dang bad once again that he's probably going to want out. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Alexei Puklevsky will be the best player on the team. Nice developing player, left-handed hooking shot. Remember the legendary Lou Dort in the NBA bubble and actually not playing bad, and they held him out because the Oklahoma City Thunder want to take. And I know they held out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because of tank reasons. That's probably going to be the case a lot because the Oklahoma City Thunder will be one of the worst teams in the NBA. San Antonio Spurs, they will have a bottom 3 record in the Western Conference. The game is long past Greg Popovich. I know they were in the play-in round last year, but I don't really see the San Antonio Spurs really getting in the play-in this year. I just simply don't see it. How about the Dallas Mavericks? Luka Doncic will average a triple-double just like Russell Westbrook has been recently without any help on the roster for the Dallas Mavericks. And I honestly kind of forgot that Rick Carlisle was let go as the Dallas Mavericks head coach. And now that Jason Kidd is the head coach for the Dallas Mavericks, and it was actually on First Take talking with Stephen A. Smith this morning, and Stephen A. Smith's like to him, my expectations get out first round. Kid's like, I'll take that. They're not a championship caliber team just yet. Speaking of championship caliber team, Jason Kidd was on that 2011 Dallas Mavericks team that helped defeat the Miami Heat 4-2. So I think it could be a very helpful thing for the Dallas Mavericks. Because remember, Jason Kidd's the point guard, wasn't one of the best passing point guards in the NBA history, and he will be helping Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, telling you, is one of the best players in the league already. Houston Rockets. Christian Wood, Jalen Green, and Kevin Porter Jr. will be the new Houston Rockets core, and they will have shown some signs of hope and promise, and they won't be a bottom 3 team in the Western Conference for the Houston Rockets. Now, how about the Memphis Grizzlies? Let's go with the Memphis gets a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. Now remember, they have Ja Morant. I actually happened to draft him yesterday. I'll get to maybe my fantasy basketball team after I'm done with this. And then lastly, New Orleans Pelicans. Brandon Ingram will play more games than Zion Williamson will for New Orleans this season. So those are my bold predictions for the upcoming 2021-2022 NBA season. And next week, I will have my, probably around this time, I will have my NBA preview for the upcoming 2021-2022 regular season. It should be fun once again. Let me tell you very quickly some of the players at the top of my head who I drafted in my league yesterday. I have LaMelo Ball, Devin Booker, Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards. Nikola Jokic was my number 1 pick. And I actually somehow forgot that I was drafted at 11:30 yesterday. I got busy with other necessities in life, so I was applying for jobs and keeping up with other stuff. So I'm just saying, the thing is that I also have Kelly Olynyk, Kyle Anderson. I also drafted Evan Mobley. So I don't think I have a bad team. I'm very curious to see where it goes. Now let's get into my NFL Week 5 preview. But before I get to my NFL Week 5 preview, get up to a $1,000 bonus with your first deposit. MyBookie.ag. Promo 12-ounce sports. 12-ounce sports, quench your sports thirst. We are live on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I'm live on YouTube, Twitter, and only on 12-ounce sports TV and Zingo TV channel 761. I'm live on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time, and also on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And if you would like to call live onto the show, my number is right on the screen, 347-831-1945. Once again, 347-831-1945. If you would like to have any questions to me about whatever I'm talking about on the show today, and if you would like to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is @GlennKaplan13. That's, again, on the bottom of the screen, @GlennKaplan13 to follow my Twitter handle. And speaking of Twitter handles, we're going with viewers, followers, and listeners on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. So please give us a follow on our pages. We are growing, once again, as I said, with viewers, followers, and listeners. So when hopefully we get to the top one of these days with our viewers, followers, and listeners. And thanks for joining the ride with us. All right. Now let me get into my NFL Week 5 preview. My record last week with my NFL picks was 9-7. My record so far this season is 35-29. Also, 4/17 of the games of the NFL teams have been played with an 18-week NFL regular season. And I believe so far this year, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is amazing for doing this for money reasons. And I think it's kind of hit. Because the primetime games, let's be real about it so far this year. It's been very good. It's not only been very good, it's been amazing. Maybe 1 week we'll miss. That's expected. You can't have all of it hit all the time. Maybe, you know what they say, once a fluke, two's a trend, three's a habit. All right, let's start with tonight's Thursday Night Football. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks. This is another tough NFC West matchup. The Rams are coming off their first loss of the year against the Arizona Cardinals. And also, the Rams are coming off their first loss of the year against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to take the Rams over the Seahawks, 28-21. Sorry that I stumbled for a second. I need to go back for a second. I will continue my NFL game picks after I very quickly talk about, because I didn't realize I forgot to mention this before I jumped in my Week 5 picks. I wanted to very quickly talk about the Monday night game between Justin Herbert and Derek Carr. Justin Herbert I'm telling you, something special. They won 28-14. He threw all three of his touchdown passes first half, 222 yards, 25 of 38 completed passes. And as for Derek Carr, 21 of 34 passes, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's all I have to say. Because Carr was getting pressured by Joey Bosa all night. And I think Carr's going to bounce back. They tried to run the ball. That was the Raiders. But it didn't work. They gotta put the ball in Derek Carr's hands, not Josh Jacobs. They can't. I'm telling you, you're not gonna rush with Josh Jacobs who has 40 yards on 13 carries. You're not. You're simply not going to do it. Why? Because he's your number one running back? No. You have to put the ball in Derek Carr's hands. Henry Ruggs III. 3 for 60. I'm telling you right now, he's starting to become in his own a little bit, and he's starting to stretch the field. And as for the Austin Eckler, now he had a nice game, 170 yards, 50 carries, and a touchdown, 3 for 28 receiving, and a touchdown. And Jared Cook was their leading receiver, 6 for 70 and a touchdown. And I'm just going to say this about the Chargers. The Chargers are one of the most aggressive teams in the entire NFL. Brandon Staley, it starts with a mindset. If you're going to go for it all the time, then, okay, you're going to go for it. And if you play passive-aggressive, then you're going to lose like Jon Gruden. So I believe, and it's going to be interesting when the second matchup comes in Vegas with Brandon Staley and Jon Gruden. I'm very curious to see how it goes. Because that game didn't feel as close as it was with 28-14. I'm just going to tell you that. Now I'm back to my other NFL picks. So after I said that the Los Angeles Rams would beat the Seattle Seahawks 28-21, so after the Los Angeles Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks tonight 28-21 over, and then game of the week, Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to, Sunday Night Football game, hey, this is going to be another great classic. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, a rematch of the AFC Championship. And I believe this is the time for the Buffalo Bills to make the move in the AFC. I do. I think Buffalo's a better team right now. And they're much better defensively than the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills over the Kansas City Chiefs 31-30. My upset special of the week is coming in the New England Patriots versus the Houston Texans. Now, I know the Houston Texans got blown out real bad 40-0 against Buffalo Bills last week. But what happens when you get blown out one week in the NFL? You usually play a lot better the next week, even your team's not very good. It's always the case. And I know Bill Belichick has his number against rookie quarterbacks and Davis Mills. But the New England Patriots offense is not very good. Let's just get that out of the way. Plus, the Patriots are going on the road. I'm taking the Houston Texans this weekend as my upset pick over the New England Patriots, 20-13. Now my blowout of the week is coming in the Tennessee Titans vs. Jacksonville Jaguars game. Number one, the Tennessee Titans are mad about losing the New York Jets. Let's just say that and get that out of the way. I don't think they're going to take this game lightly this week. That's number one. And number two, Urban Meyer said it's up to the players and what they want from a leadership standpoint. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the players like, hey, listen, let's lay down this week. Let's get Urban Meyer out of here as fast as we can. I mean, really, if they get blown out like really bad, I'm sure they'll be like, hey, Urban Meyer, you're fired on Monday. So I'm taking the Tennessee Titans over Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think Mike Vrabel messes around. I'm going to say 40-8 Tennessee Titans over Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to commercial break, and I will be right back.
Ounce Sports has a new home for betting. BetUS.com is the official place to place your bets and support 12-ounce sports. All you have to do is go to BetUS.com and type in the promo code 120ZE and you'll instantly get a deposit bonus. This is America's favorite sportsbook. And remember, always gamble responsibly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am now back from commercial break over here. All right, let's get now into my Jets and Falcons pick. So this game will be played overseas in London. 9:30 a.m. Eastern kickoff time. I'm not sure how many of you guys are going to be watching the game, and it's a 6:30 a.m. Eastern kickoff, Pacific time kickoff. I don't know. You guys on the West Coast probably sleeping. These guys on the East Coast, will probably be up at that time. So I'm very curious to see how it goes. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, New York Jets are two very bad football teams. And Zach Wilson found some groove last week against the Tennessee Titans. Matt Ryan and the Falcons can score points. It's their defense that's not very good. And the Jets will look to go on a two-game winning streak before both of these teams, hit a bye week. Because the bye week this year is starting next week. See, if it was a 17-game regular season, they would have started last week. But because there's an extra game this year, it is starting 2 weeks later, which I actually agree with. So I'm curious to see how they're spreading the bye weeks out for all of these teams. And I think there's going to be a lot of points scored this weekend. I think there's going to not be a lot of defense played. I really don't. But I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons to beat the New York Jets by a final score of 30-27. The Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. You know the old cliche with Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Detroit Lions, biting kneecaps, baby. You know what they're biting? They're biting their own kneecaps because they can't seem to get out of their own stinking way. Because they stink from the S to the K. Let's just put it like that. And the Minnesota Vikings offense is actually not bad. They only put up 7 points last week against the Cleveland Browns, but I think they're going to put up much more than that this week. I think they're going to easily win this week. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings over the Detroit Lions by a final score of 28-7. Now give me the New Orleans Saints versus the Washington football team. Both teams are 2-2, and this is a big game for various reasons. Number one, this could be for wild card playoff implications in the NFC later on in the year. I don't think the Saints are going to win the division in the NFC South, but if they want to get like a playoff spot, then this is a game you have to win. You already lost to the Carolina Panthers earlier in the year, and you lost to the New York Giants last week. And losing on the road this week to Washington isn't going to help matters. Taylor Heineke showing a little bit of swagger and a little bit of moxie at the quarterback position for the Washington football team. He's showing that moxie. This Jameis Winston, maybe he gets going against the Washington team's football defense. Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, those guys have been absolutely downright pathetic this year. They've been terrible. I know Young has 2 sacks, but he doesn't. He's just not making an impact on the game. What are they, double teaming and triple teaming? I mean, and whatever else. And offensively, I like Antonio Gibbs and Terry McLaurin for them. And on the other side for New Orleans, they haven't had Michael Thomas all year. Marquez Callaway, he's all right. I'm sure they might even stack it in a box and Alvin Kamara might dare Winston to beat them. Also, there's Taysom Hill and the Wildcat in the running formation. So we will have to see where that goes this week in this game, because I think it's going to be a one-possession game. But I'm going to take the Washington football team over the New Orleans Saints by a final score of 27-21. Now give me the Miami Dolphins versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady and company play up against a very mediocre and shaky Miami Dolphins football team. Well, Miami has a good team on roster. It's just the issue with the Miami Dolphins is they don't have a quarterback. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, especially in the secondary, is banged up. But I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will easily win this football game over the Miami Dolphins by a final score of 35-13. Now, this game is one of the most intriguing games of the weekend. The Green Bay Packers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This is an Aaron Rodgers versus a Joe Burrow matchup. I mean, there's going to be points scored on the board. I'm not sure how the defense is going to play. I think both teams' defenses have improved. I actually think the Bengals are going to look much sharper this week than they actually were last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I'm not here like Colin Cowherd, Fox Sports 1 saying, so I always say on this show, there's nothing in the standings that says bad win and great loss. I'm not that person. You win, you lose in the NFL, and that goes for the NHL, MLB, and NBA as well. So, I believe that the Packers with Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams will cause fits for the Bengals defense, and I can see Jamar Chase being a problem for the Packers to defend, especially since Jaire Alexander, the Packers' #1 cornerback, may not even be playing this weekend. So that is something to watch in this game. And not having Joe Mixon in the backfield for Cincinnati is potentially going to be a problem because they're probably going to have no running threat. I don't think that necessarily means that Green Bay is going to stack it in the box. I don't think that's what it means. But I'm telling you, I think this game is going to be closer than people think it's going to be. I'm taking the Green Bay Packers over the Cincinnati Bengals 28-24. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Green Bay Packers. It wouldn't surprise me. Denver Broncos versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this is going to be by far the lowest scoring game of the weekend. Number one, Teddy Bridgewater is probably not starting this weekend for Denver. Due to injury, it's probably going to be Drew Lock. He's not very good, and Pittsburgh's defense is good. That's number one. Number two, Ben Roethlisberger has not been very good for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and also the Denver Broncos defense has been very good this year. So, I believe, and the Steelers have the worst rushing offense in the NFL this year, and I don't think that's because of rookie running back Najee Harris. All the Instant fans, everyone in Pittsburgh, they're all saying, hey, it's because of the offensive line, and maybe if you started Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph, maybe be a little bit more mobile, yeah, sure. But it's not going to matter because teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens may keep on winning this weekend, and teams like Pittsburgh Steelers may lose. It's very well possible that's going to happen. And I think this is going to be the most dreadful, boring game in the weekend. And I would not be surprised to see no touchdown scored in this game. Give me the Denver Broncos over the Pittsburgh Steelers in an all-field goal fest by a final score of 9-6. And I'm sure the Yinzer fans will continue to be depressed and also frustrated. All right. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Carolina Panthers. I think this is going to be another low-key good game. I think the Carolina Panthers with Sam Darnold, I think they're a better talented roster than the Philadelphia Eagles are. Jalen Hurts has had a nice start to the year. Nick Sirianni has his guys playing hard, but they just don't have enough. It's not that I don't think they have enough energy. It's just I think that general manager Howie Roseman did not do a good job constructing the roster. If Nick Sirianni was coaching a team with more talent, then I think he will win more games. That's just how I feel. I was critical of him at first, but I like what he's doing with the Eagles. I'm not sure it's going to translate to many wins, but that's because of the power struggle in that front office with owner Jeffrey Lurie and general manager Howie Roseman. And that's what has upset Eagles fans, and that's what led to the departure of former head coach Doug Peterson, who won them their only Super Bowl in franchise history, New England Patriots, so on and so forth. But I'm just going to say that Sam Darnold is going to air it out to DJ Moore this weekend because the Philadelphia Eagles secondary stinks during the SDK. So give me the Carolina Panthers over the Philadelphia Eagles by a final score of 31-24. How about the Cleveland Browns versus Los Angeles Chargers? This is probably the second best game of the weekend. Baker Mayfield versus Michael Corvallis' favorite player, Justin Herbert. I know Beck is a big Cleveland Browns fan. And I think we will see what the Cleveland Browns are made of. Especially Baker Mayfield. I saw a report this morning about Baker Mayfield being injured with the shoulder. It's his non-throwing shoulder, but it doesn't seem like it's a concern for the Cleveland Browns. Now we know how aggressive that the Chargers are with Brandon Staley. I believe Kevin Stefanski, the Cleveland Browns this weekend, will also be very aggressive. But here's the thing about when you get aggressive, and it is not wrong to be aggressive. Which coach this weekend is going to be so aggressive that it's completely going to backfire and cost them the football game? I could totally see it this weekend. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. But I believe the Chargers, Justin Herbert's better than Baker Mayfield. That's where I'm going with this pick. And I like Austin Eckler a lot for the Chargers. But Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to have to keep the Browns offense on the field and the Chargers defense on the sidelines. And also keep an eye on Myles Garrett against that Chargers offensive line. Also Joey Bosa against that Browns offensive line. So I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers over the Cleveland Browns by a final score of 31-28. The Chicago Bears versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Khalil Mack Bowl 2.0. The Raiders went the first time were known as the Oakland Raiders. I remember that game 4 years ago. That was in overseas in London. This time we'll be at Alliance Stadium. That's going to be a fun game. Actually, I'm not sure if it's going to be that fun. The Bears' offensive line is a struggle. Justin Fields is starting. I don't think he's particularly great. Matt Nagy, the head coach of Chicago Bears. I have various questions about him with his offensive schematics. And I know a bunch of Chicago fans have been complaining about him. But I'm not sure if this is the right move by Chicago, honestly. I think he needs to ride the bench more, to tell you the truth. But, oh my God. Justin Fields did this against the Detroit Lions. Come on. And I think Derek Carr is going to have a bounce-back week for the Raiders. So give me the Vegas Raiders over the Chicago Bears by a final score of 34-14. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. 49ers are on a 2-game skid and are looking to take down the last undefeated team in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals. Trey Lance gets his first career start with the injury to Jimmy Garoppolo to a hamstring, and maybe this is Trey Lance riding it out forever. Maybe they'll find a trade partner for Jimmy Garoppolo once he's healthy. I'm taking, it's not my upset pick of the week, but I think the San Francisco 49ers will bounce back this week over the Arizona Cardinals 24-21. I believe Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Rondale Moore, Chase Edmonds, James Conner, the rest of that Arizona Cardinals offense gets contained by the San Francisco 49ers. And that will just make even things more wackier. Along with the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Arizona Cardinals. So by the end of the weekend, it could very well look like Arizona Cardinals still 1, Los Angeles Rams still 2, San Francisco 49ers 3, and Seattle Seahawks 4. We'll see how that works out. New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott will trade their touchdown punches. New York Giants could very well win. They're being doubted. And the Dallas Cowboys is being hyped up by the national media Super Bowl contenders. I am taking the Dallas Cowboys on a last-second field goal to win over the New York Giants 31-28. Indianapolis Colts versus Baltimore Ravens Monday Night Football. I'm taking Lamar Jackson's better than Carson Wentz. Give me the Baltimore Ravens over the Indianapolis Colts by a final score of 24-20. And to support my show and my articles on the website, go to 12ouncesports.com. It's 12ouncesportsnetwork.com/sportinggoods. Okay. Now, my 5 bold predictions for Week 5 of the NFL regular season. Number 1, Josh Allen outplays Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott each throw for 4 touchdown passes. Number 3, the Bengals will have more yards than the Packers will. Number 4, the Titans defense will hold the Jaguars to under 150 yards of total offense. And number 5, no team scores a touchdown in the Denver Broncos versus the Pittsburgh Steelers football game. So we'll see what happens in that football game. And speaking of before the football game or games this weekend, let's get to my NFL top 10 teams entering Week 5 of the NFL regular season. Number 10, Las Vegas Raiders. Number 9, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 8, the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 6, the Green Bay Packers. Number 5, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4, the Los Angeles Rams. Number 3, the Cleveland Browns. Number 2, the Arizona Cardinals. And number 1, the Buffalo Bills. So that is my top 10 teams for entering Week 5 of the NFL regular season. So once again, number 10, the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 9, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 8, the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 6, the Green Bay Packers. Number 5, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4, the Los Angeles Rams. Number 3, the Cleveland Browns. Number 2, the Arizona Cardinals. And number 1, the Buffalo Bills. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of time here. Thanks for tuning in Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. Hope you'll all enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend here as well. I will be back on the air on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific Time. So I'm going to go over NFL Week 5 game recaps. I'm going to do it in a completely different model instead of the ridiculous reading off stats. I'm also going to maybe have some potential MLB postseason game recaps in the talk style like I did today with the AL wildcard game and the NL wildcard game, and NBA and NHL, basically regular season training camp news or preseason news per se, nonetheless. All right, get up to a $1,000 bonus with your first deposit, MyBookie.ag. Promo 12-ounce sports, 12-ounce sports, quench your sports thirst. We were live at Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. Follow me on my Twitter handle, Glenn Kaplan 13, at Glenn Kaplan 13. And also, to support my show or my articles, go to 12ouncesportsnetwork.com/sportinggoods. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.